This is Binghamton Now on News Radio 1290 WNBF Binghamton and WNBF.com.
I'm Bob Joseph. This is Binghamton Now, Friday, July 19th, 2024. All systems are go. Everything is looking good. Give us a call at 607-772-1290. WNBF. All the computers are working fine. We're looking forward to a flawless 3 hours of high-tech talk excellence. Again, the number, 607-772-1290. And hopefully all of your systems are go. Just a demonstration once again that we're just one blink of an eye away from a global shutdown. Global shutdown. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. Bob, it couldn't happen. Well, the reason you think it couldn't happen is because it hasn't happened yet. All they need to tell you is just buckle up and be ready. Because when it happens, and at least now, you won't be in a position where you say, yeah, I had no idea this could happen. Yes. Not only can it happen, sadly, I suspect it will happen. Hope not, but think about the people who've put these systems together. Just think about that. Everything, remember everything was going to be better when you were a kid and you got your first Texas Instruments calculator and said, hey, who needs math? I have my TI, I don't remember what number it was, whatever. Everything was good then. Right, that's because nobody could hack into your Texas Instrument calculator with the red LED display. Yeah, and we had the internet, and life has never been the same since. Let's see what else is going on. I don't even know, though, if phones are working, that would be nice. Let me just check. My guess is, I guess we have so much difficulty on so-called normal days, the phones may not even be operational, but let me just, I'll conduct an experiment. I'm going to conduct an experiment to see actually if it looks like, yeah. Scrap the experiment. This is a listener apparently calling in, or maybe somebody demanding ransom to have our phones operational. Good morning, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, you people all fall for all that technology, so don't be complaining about it.
I'm not complaining. There's no complaints here. I'm just stating the facts. I have no complaints.
I do. I think you're all nuts.
Yeah, well, not since they closed M&D here on Court Street.
Scooter, I don't believe in any of that bull. And you people that fell for it are the idiots. Don't you get it?
No, I don't get it. Anyway, just for legal purposes, we'll identify the caller as Bob from Vestal. Continue.
I think practical. A lot of you people, most people who listen to this are older, and it amazes me that they don't seem to have any common sense. They just get in line like little sheep and follow whatever the liberals tell them. I don't know. I'm just amazed by that. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I hear you, man.
Oh, listen to this. I just went to Walmart. Do people know the difference between an indoor and an outdoor? Every time I go there, I'm walking in, somebody's coming out the door in my face. Then when I'm leaving out the outdoor, someone's coming in. That's what I mean. This whole society is so, I don't know what's wrong with them. But they don't know the difference between an indoor and an outdoor.
I've seen it
You know how
myself.
frustrating-
Bob, I've seen it myself, and I can't tell you how frustrated it makes me.
Yes, it is. That's what I'm saying. Oh, and I go to check out, the self-checkout. There's like 8 of the things there. They got to cut down to 3. I go, what's up with that? Are those computers down over there? He goes, theft. People stealing stuff. So they had to shut down.
Hey, it's called the 5-finger discount. Some people think they need a break. Some people think that because of Biden's high-price policies, they need a break.
Sure, but
I don't think people used to want to steal stuff as much as they do today, and then Biden ordered all the prices. Look, $7 for a little bag of chips? Come on, man.
I know, it's ridiculous. Every
It's
time
terrible. Bob, it's terrible.
I know, but nobody does anything about it. They just follow along with it. All right. Yeah, I just got in and heard you
All
talking
right.
about
Yeah, hey, thanks.
technology.
Yeah, thanks for helping
get
me
off
out.
People, go out and do something. Get off this technology. It's not good for your brain.
Go out to a park. Go out to Arnold Park.
Go out anywhere.
Go out up to Round Top.
Some of the people that call in here, I swear to God, the first thing they do is get on their computers, see what Donald Trump did.
Oh, by the way, what did he do? He started speaking too late. I was hoping that they would put it on at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, but I watched for a bit, and then it occurred to me, no, they're toying with me. They're going to force me to stay up till 10 or 10:30 to see the main event. And I said, I'm not going to buy in. I'm not going to be manipulated.
Answer that. I watched it till 10, went to bed. That's my bedtime.
Yeah, I heard that he gave a powerful speech, but it doesn't help matters if most people on the East Coast were sleeping.
Yeah, but you just watch the news, you see all the clips.
Right?
Like if I miss a ball game, I watch the clips the next day, the highlights, I know everything that happened. Big deal.
All right.
Okay, yeah.
I'll see you at Round Top at 1 o'clock.
All right, bye.
I'm kidding. Thank you. Bob from Vestal starting things off on a festive Friday. The fun, the frolic, and more. Continuing on America's most popular... How do I word it in a way that would actually be true? On America's most popular talk show originating from downtown Binghamton. This is Bob Joseph. Proud to serve you on WNBF. WNBF always bringing you deeper understanding of the mysteries of life. We could try. We could try anyway, and hopefully at the end of the program today, you'll have learned a couple of things at least. For one thing, I won't be at Round Top at 1 this afternoon, so if I in any way got someone's hopes up, sorry about that. So sorry. So sorry. 607-772-1290. We have ascertained that the system that powers the state-of-the-art cutting-edge telephones here is working flawlessly. So, well, at least we got in caller 1. You never know. You never know until it finally ends. Here's a bulletin. This just in. The flash apparently official. The Broome County Sheriff's Office is closed. We are not kidding. This is not a test, and it's not a drill. The Broome County Sheriff's Office is closed to the public today. So if you thought you were going to the Sheriff's Office in the town of Dickinson today, you can revise your plans. Today is not the day if you were planning to go to the Sheriff's Office. Same with the jail. So this flash, again, apparently official. It comes directly from the Sheriff's Office. So all those who were in any way hoping to do something at the Sheriff's Office or visit somebody at the jail, it looks like that's not happening. This is the official message. The Broome County Sheriff's Office and the Broome County Correctional Facility will be closed to the public today due to the global technology outage. So while everything seems to be moving along just fine here at the station, evidently things are far from fine elsewhere. According to the sheriff's office, this is a developing situation, but our deputies, corrections officers, and civilian staff will continue working today on behalf of our community. We are working closely with the Broome County Executive and the Broome County Office of Emergency Services as the situation continues to develop. Safety remains our number one priority. So that's the message from the sheriff's office. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a call from Broome County Executive Jason Garner. That would be good. I think I'm going to put in a request. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. Let's see. And I shouldn't be doing this on the air, but then again, it's a one-man show. So, if we had lots of assistants and researchers, like some of those high-powered talk show hosts, just mind your own business. Mind your own business, and nobody probably will be hurt. Just want to make sure I spell everything correctly. So this is going to constitute the official request, now being sent to Jason Garner's office. Okay, it's now been sent at 9:24 a.m. Here's another note, though, from Broome County. Due to the worldwide technology outage, all county offices will be closed to the public until further notice. Employees will still report to work. This is a developing situation. Check the county website or your local media for further updates. Speaking of that, you know me, I monitor local media because I'm a newsaholic. And so I tuned in at 7:27 for Action News to find out what's going on with the global technology outage and the impact that it was having on Binghamton and vicinity. Action News at 7:27, they had no news. So maybe they were, I assume Action News was affected. So 7:27 for their highly anticipated Friday morning news update on Action News. They said, hi. And by the way, this is paraphrasing. I wasn't taking notes. I didn't think to record it. But something to the effect, hi. This is Action News. Let's turn it over to Brian for the weather. As soon as I saw that, that got my attention because I thought, well, if they're having trouble at Action News with their popular 7:27 newscast, if they're having trouble, then imagine the shambles that must be going on at the station here. But much to my amazement, everything seems so far to be functioning properly. Oh, here's a bulletin just in. A Binghamton Now correspondent has just advised me that the Dick's House of Sport at the Oakdale Commons in Johnson City is closed due to internet stuff. Thank you. By the way, if you're a Binghamton Now correspondent, feel free to check in with reports throughout the community. So if you see any other businesses, I think I should write that down because maybe I'll do a story on this for the website. Okay, so House of Sport closed. All right. If you see any other businesses, now I have to say, I was doing some reporting today, but it involved no businesses. Well, not actually going into businesses. It actually involves some new businesses coming to town. So I didn't actually speak with people this morning. If you saw a guy taking pictures this morning between 8 and 9 o'clock, well, probably was me, or could have been Geraldo. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Matt, who's very tired because I listened to the whole speech last night, Ryan.
All right. Give me a review. This will be my first official review from a former Binghamton mayor of what the former president had to say last night.
Well, his kinder, gentler side was really a plea for...
Wait, hold on. I'll be right back with you. Good morning, WNBF News. I'm Bob. You're on the air. Oh, maybe they didn't want to be on the air. I thought it was, for a second there, and I apologize, Matthew. For a second, I thought it might be the county executive calling in to talk about the technology problem, so apologize for that. Continue.
Okay. Well, I listened to the whole thing, and the first part was a touching rendition of him, nearly getting assassinated, which, it was what it was, and that was pretty well done. But after that, he went into his normal, very, very long. It's the longest presidential acceptance speech of all time by far. It started to sound like Fidel Castro length almost. But
well,
anyway,
I heard on the CBS Morning News, I heard that it was longer than some popular movies.
Well, here's the deal, though. The whole thing went back into his thing about migrant crime. Look up the statistics. There's no evidence that the migrant crime wave, he's talking about hundreds of thousands of people being killed in the country. And maybe that's a reference to fentanyl, but fentanyl doesn't come over by migrants. People who push fentanyl don't put it in the hands of migrants. They have much more sophisticated ways of bringing that over, and that's been a problem for a long time, and it's not an easily solvable problem. But it's got nothing to do with migrants crossing the border. And second of all, if you look at the crime statistics by official crime statistics for the last 20 years, it's amazing how low crime rates are right now, and they've gone down dramatically since Trump left office. Dramatically. In 19 and 20, they were the highest they've been in a long time, and Biden his policies have been responsible at giving law enforcement a lot of resources to fight gun violence and try to take guns off the street, illegal guns mostly, and people who own them illegally or doing bad things with them. That's who they're attacking, and that's bringing down the violence. So for him to that's pretty much, he said it over and over and over and over I had to almost put toothpicks in my eyes to stay awake. So I think the theme of the speech should have been, let's make America sleep again, because it was...
Well, then, if that's the case, maybe the people from the Sominex Corporation will be filing a cease and desist.
Right. And just, I just wish there was some kind of way to fact check that everybody would agree was fair, because this guy doesn't tell the truth most of the time he speaks about anything. His manufacturing, if you go look at the supposed economy under him, it's a joke. That's the other thing about the speech. He just kept saying, making it sound like if he's president, he'll snap his fingers and everything will be magically perfect. And it's just, it didn't happen when he was president. It doesn't happen. It takes hard work to form a more perfect union. It takes thinking about what are the causes of crime that does exist. When I ran for office as a district attorney, we are never going to change the amount of crime in this country unless we deal with the inequities in our society. And the inequities under the oligarchy we have now have gotten worse and worse. More and more people have, less and less people own more of the wealth, and that's certainly not going to change under a Trump presidency. He's coddling all the big guys, and then he has. It's like it was also last night. There was no women that spoke. It was Hulk Hogan Dana White, who beats his wife up at a party. It's all on. And then
let's not talk about what people have done.
Why not?
Well, because I don't want litigation. So I don't have any evidence of that. So don't.
Oh, that is the evidence. There's videotapes of it.
Well, I don't have the video. So,
I do.
You could say whatever you want, but not on this program. Strike that from the record. I don't have any independent corroboration of what you said. So, for all intents and purposes, for purposes of this program, I'm striking that from the record. Continue. If you want to talk about what people said at the thing last night, go ahead.
Well, the point is that who's saying what they're saying? Shouldn't that be?
Yeah, and tonight when you're out downtown celebrating another great week in America, you could talk about it with your group of political buddies, but you can't say something like that on my program. So I'm striking it officially from the record.
Okay, good.
I mean, you're an attorney of all people. You know the law. You're an officer of the court, Matthew.
Telling the truth?
I don't care if it's the truth. I don't know what you said to be a fact, so I'm striking it as the Honorable Bob Joseph. I struck it from the record. If you continue along this line of discussion, I'm going to hold you in contempt. No, I'm serious, though. Be careful. And I don't care if it's a nationally known figure or anyone else. Be careful what you say unless it's been widely reported someone has been convicted of something. And when I say widely reported, that means if you think there's a likelihood that I have seen... Let's not even talk about him anymore. Let's talk about, I don't know, some of the other people. What about the Big Hulk?
What about him? My point was...
I saw him on the CBS Morning News. It looked like, I wasn't paying close attention to what he said, but when I looked up, it looked like he was having a wardrobe malfunction. Am I right? What was going on there? Because, again, I was trying to get some information about the global technology meltdown, so I wasn't paying attention to what he said, but it looked like the Big Hulk was having some sort of a wardrobe problem.
Well, again, somebody said it was choreographed like a WWE convention or something, and the people he had on last night, that's what they were like, and I don't know, and it certainly appeals to a certain demographic, and it's probably a lot of Trump voters who he calls low. I love, can I say this? He says, I love low information voters. How many times has he said that? And it appeals to those people who...
Wait, hold on. There you go again. Let me just to clarify so we can hear precisely what Donald Trump said. Because I don't want people to think that we're taking it out of context.
I love the poorly educated.
That's what he said.
No, he also said, I love low information.
Wait, hold on.
I love the poorly educated.
Yeah, sorry, that's the only thing I have on my stack of stuff.
Okay, well, yes, and he said...
Could I hear that one more time? Because I'm not sure that I understood it the first two times.
I love the poorly educated.
Wait, the fourth time will be a charm, and I promise not to use this clip again this half hour.
I love the poorly educated.
Right.
Did he say that last night at the convention?
No, but he did talk about Hannibal Lecter again.
No.
I swear to God.
Well, see, what I think is his plan was to bring it up and say, and I love delicious Speedies that I had when I was at summer camp all those years ago east of Binghamton, New York. And a shout out to the host of Binghamton Now, Roger Neal.
That would have been better than Hannibal Lecter.
He didn't. Yeah, come on, Matthew.
He did.
He wouldn't stoop that low.
He did.
Okay, I trust you. You wouldn't make it up.
No, I'm not making it.
Okay, I trust you.
Okay, and I okay. Let's not talk about what Dana.
Don't say his name again. Come on. You want me to be hauled away in handcuffs?
The way he treats...
Don't talk about that person. I don't even know who it is.
The head of the U.S.
No. But again, I must warn you, this is your final warning, or you'll be held in contempt and you won't be permitted to call the program anymore this week. Oh, wait, we have a call coming in. Hold on. Hi, WNBF hotline. This is Bob Joseph. You're on the air. Okay. Sorry, Matthew. I thought it might be Jason Garner telling me about the county offices being closed because of the technology. I don't want to miss any technology updates. Okay, continue.
My main point is, if you look up...
Are you going to mention that guy again?
Oh, no.
Oh, darn.
I'm talking about crime. Look at the statistics. It used to be 800 per 100,000. It's down to 400 per 100,000. And it's stayed since 2011. It's stayed pretty, it fluctuates a little bit. But it's the worst was 1990, and it's gone down dramatically since then. And there's no... And the fact that illegal immigrants commit very little crime because they don't want to, if they get caught, they're gone immediately.
Oh, wait, this just in. Vic from the Forks just sent this in. He sent a telegram, and this is for you, Matt. Says, if crime is down, it's because Antifa is on break. That's from your buddy Vic from the Forks. This just in. I'm so by the way, Matt, I'm so glad our internet's working and we're getting real-time emails so we can have this kind of scintillating back and forth.
Vic is a good friend of mine.
He's a great guy. He's a good friend of the program. I'll tell you this. One of these days I'm going to run the numbers, and I predict after I run all the numbers, you and Vic from the Forks are going to wind up in the top 10 callers since we started the program. It sounds likely, right? I mean, definitely top 20, but most likely top 10.
Proves that I'm retired and have way too much time.
You said it, not me.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to move on because I want to catch a couple more calls, okay?
Okay, have a good one.
Yeah, thank you. It's a former Binghamton Mayor, Matthew Ryan. Live on our Friday show. And again, Broome County offices are closed because of the global technological meltdown. At 9:41, let's squeeze in one more call here. Hi, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
This is Bob. I had to call back.
Oh, yeah, I was hoping. Yeah, so what do you think? By the way, you heard it for yourself. What do you think?
I think he needs to get a life.
Come on. He's like, here's the thing. With Matt from Binghamton, he's like many of our listeners. They enjoy listening to the program, and they also enjoy contributing.
Yeah, but like I said, he's probably on that computer. He's looking at crime statistics. Why don't he go take a walk or something? This guy is so obsessed with Donald Trump. It's amazing. Why doesn't he, think about other things, like music? Turn on a damn album and listen to it. Why are these people that obsessed with politicians? I don't get it.
Well, I don't either, because, as you know, I have no particular interest in government or politics.
Yeah, if I watch Trump and I like Trump, I'll watch it for a few minutes, and I'm looking for something else to watch. It just doesn't interest me, and these people it's like it's their life or something. You know what I'm talking about. A couple other people that call. It's like, wow, is that all you got to do? It just amazes me. When I almost turn the radio off.
Hey, Bob, don't ever threaten to turn the radio off, at least till noon.
You put him in his place talking about stuff that...
Well,
yeah, because usually you don't do that.
Oh, and I was reluctant, but I want you know me, because I want to be fair to all.
You hang up on me a lot.
Oh, please. Pish posh on that. I don't hang up on people until I'm done.
I don't know. I've been hung up on more than anybody, I bet.
Well, here's a little secret, Bob from Vestal, and it may not have occurred to you. Every time you call a talk show, whether it's this fine program or other pale imitators. Every time you call a talk program, the host is going to wind up hanging up on you.
Well, no, usually I'm saying something you don't like.
No, sometimes it's because we have to move on either to the next caller or for important commercial massages.
Yeah, but some other people get 15 straight minutes.
But again, sometimes people misunderstand because the most important thing here at the station is that the sponsor messages wind up being played at the appropriate time. That's the most important thing, because this is not, we're not holding a radiothon and asking you, Bob, to, donate $1,000 a month because you like Binghamton Now. So fortunately, we have sponsors that make this possible. So sometimes, because they have to be done by a certain time, so sometimes your call winds up being shorter than you'd like.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying, and I get it. Hey, I hear you, man. I listen to this darn program every day.
He don't mean nothing to me because he was mayor of Binghamton. Don't give him special treatment.
He's a special person. Very few people in the world have ever been able to call themselves mayor of Binghamton, New York.
I'm thrilled.
Well, you don't have to be. He doesn't care if you're thrilled or not. He's not. I've never, ever heard Matt Ryan claim he's better than any of the other callers here.
You got to be cocky to run for office.
Yes. Look at the presidential candidates. I rest my case.
I heard Matt say, well, maybe me and Bob could get in a room and talk. I don't think so, Matt.
All righty. Oh, no, I hung up on him. It's 9:45. Bob Joseph, Mr. Incorrigible, live on your radio, WNBF. This is Binghamton Now, your Thursday edition. It was yesterday. I guess this is the Friday edition if we're recording it. Herb from Binghamton, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to give you an update on the credit system. Everything's shut down. There's no credit in town.
Well, so if I want to go out and buy myself, a $4,000 pair of snakes, I'm sadly out of luck.
If you want to go out and buy $5 worth of gas, you're out of luck.
Oh my
If you want to go out and buy donuts at Dunkin' Donuts, you're out of luck. If you want to go buy a hamburger at McDonald's, you're out of luck.
What if I want to buy some loose cigarettes, Lucy's, over on North Street in Endicott?
Well, you're dealing cash.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just tricking you. That's a trick question to see if I, so it's not like everything is out of reach. It's just the things most people want.
Everything that like all the gas stations that deal with credit and credit cards and that, the whole system's down.
Oh my gosh. But how about if I have actual cash, will they do cash transactions?
No, they won't do anything.
But Herb, my car is almost it's got about a quarter tank of gas. I have places to go and people to see this afternoon. What am I going to do?
It's called planning ahead, John. It's planning ahead. You didn't plan ahead. So.
That's true. So what you're telling me, I'm SOL. I'm sadly out of luck.
That's correct.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Thank
Have
you.
fun.
It's better I heard it from you than from some kid out on the street. Thank you, Herb.
Yep, bye-bye.
All right. Well, there goes my day. You think I'm going to be driving around this afternoon aimlessly looking for all the news in all the wrong places or even the right places? No. I've got to conserve gas. I need to be able to get home. Maybe I'll call a cab. I'll call that cab company. Well, now I'm really starting to get concerned. It's 10 minutes before the hour. And by the way, it's not Memorex. It's just this is the real deal. A real show for real people being done live as I cope. As I cope. As we cope. Oh my gosh. This just in, I received some interesting information. Oh my gosh. Well, a listener advises in the ham radio community, everything is 10-4, good buddy. Obviously, they don't say that on ham radio, but I guess they say it on the Citizens Band. In the ham radio community, it's just another day. We transmit okay, we receive okay. Thank you, sir, for that update. Good grief. It's worse than I thought. I mean, I thought it was pretty bad, but it looks like it's worse than I thought, so thank you. As correspondents continue to check in from around the world. Well, see, I should have put in that 5,000 gallon gasoline tank in the backyard when I was thinking about it. Shoulda. Too late now. As Herb made painfully clear, looks like people like me who didn't fill up their vehicles last night. And the thing is, I could have. Drove past, you know that gas station where the gas is always cheap and it's always extra good? So I drove past it yesterday afternoon because I was out covering a story. And I said, I should, because I have the time, and I actually had the inclination, I should stop in and fill up. Not only will I save money, but I'll be in fine shape in case our national fueling system goes on the fritz tomorrow morning. But did I? Did I do it? No. As they say, too late, man. Too late. This reminds me of one of those commercials, you know, where the guy with the frightening voice comes on trying to frighten me. You know they're lying to you. And you know we're moments away from everything going kablooey. Oh, actually, this reminds me, we played some of this frightening music yesterday morning. Maybe this was because I had a premonition. I didn't know exactly what bad thing was going to happen, but I just apparently had a gut feeling that something was going to go wrong over the next 12 hours. Playing the ominous music. All right, enough of that. At least the ominous music still works. They can take away my gasoline, but they can't take away my ominous music. Although I know you wish they would. Hi, WNBF, you're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Jesse from Owego. Bob, is your NYSEG bill going up? Because if it's not, it's about to.
Well, of course it's going up. Why would it ever go down? Come on, man.
Well, yeah, but now it's going to go up more. Did you realize anyone who's eligible, if their power went out and they have spoiled food, and if they qualify, NYSEG is going to reimburse them up to $250.
Yeah.
Well, what business is it of NYSEG to reimburse anyone for anything when it comes to a power outage?
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Because because they want to have a pristine public image. So they probably calculated if we offer to reimburse some people if their food had to be tossed out because of a power outage, we want to continue to maintain our wonderful, unblemished reputation. So, of course, they would do it. It makes sense from a public relations standpoint.
Well, maybe they should reimburse me last winter when the power was out for 8 hours and I damn near froze my butt off.
Well, did you put in a request? Even now, even though that happened months ago, and clearly you had no lasting impact. Why don't you put in a request now that they have this reimbursement program? Maybe if you fill out the form, they'll send you $500.
Yeah, okay. I kind of get it. When I get right-handed, tall, and I am no longer Irish, I will qualify.
All right. As they say. As Johnny McFerrin once said, don't worry. Be happy. Or hoppy, I don't know. Oh, speaking of that, did you see the story here at the WNBF.com? Speaking of hoppy, the ice cream shop there on Route 17C, a little bit west of Endicott, now they're turning that into a craft brewery. So for those who were worried, maybe they can get hoppy there. So it's going to have some craft beer, and the two men who are putting this together say they'll have pizza and some ice cream. It's not going to be, used to be just an ice cream shop, regular ice cream shop where you could go to get your cones and sundaes and stuff like that. But now they just bought this a week ago. And so already we've got this story at WNBF.com. I don't even know. Seriously, I don't even know how we manage to report stories that fast. It's no wonder they say it's where news breaks first. I mean, I ran into them just a few days after they closed on the acquisition of the property, and they're like, well, hey, I'll tell you what's going on. Take a look. It's on our website. It's 9:57. This is Bob Joseph on WNBF. We welcome back to the program Binghamton Mayor Jared Graham, who joins us in the studio. Good morning.
Bob, good morning. Are we analog or digital right now on the airwaves?
Mostly digital.
Okay.
Mostly. When I woke up this morning, I thought, oh, good. Thankfully, I put one of those old reel-to-reel tape machines and one of those old cart machines that we used to use for commercials, and I think I know where we have one turntable that works, and I thought, boy, this is going to be a Friday to remember. It's going to be radio mayhem. But fortunately, when I came in here this morning, it appears to me that all of the systems that we need here at the station are working normally. So, and I know, as we have reported, Broome County has announced that Broome County government offices are closed today because of some of the technical problems. Also, the Broome County Sheriff's Office is closed to the public, and the Broome County Jail on Front Street in the town of Dickinson also closed because of some of these issues. But the interesting thing is, at least so far, you've told me that at Binghamton City Hall, things from an IT standpoint appear to be moving along the way they ought to.
That's correct. I talked this morning to folks in our IT department as well as public safety agencies. And as of right now, the city of Binghamton operations appear to be unaffected. And again, there's been a lot of reporting this morning. It appears that a antivirus software called CrowdStrike, which kind of uniquely affects Windows computers. Obviously, Windows computers are used in business and commerce, government, all over the place. But as of right now, the city of Binghamton is unaffected. We are operating normally, and thankfully all of our public safety and IT operations are moving forward as normal. Obviously, that can change, and if it does change, we'll certainly communicate with the public. But just, again, seeing some of the reporting on this, it seems to be widespread. I think one of the stories said this could be the largest in U.S. history. So we're monitoring it, but as of right now, we seem to be unaffected. And I've always been concerned about this, not just in the last few months, but the last several years. I've had this sense that sometimes, somehow, something like this, maybe even more crippling. I mean, as it happens, based on what we're hearing now, it doesn't seem to be as widespread, at least in the United States, as may have happened earlier in the day in Europe and other countries. But it does help to reinforce the notion we are vulnerable. I mean, we're not just vulnerable to potential natural disasters or weather-related issues or even man-made problems where people are intentionally trying to affect our infrastructure. But from a technological standpoint, at any given time, something could happen. We saw what happened with Guthrie Lord's Hospital with their system still being tied into Ascension. And I think they're still in the process of recovering. And that was a ransomware situation. So you never know what to expect. You never know. And I think, as government institutions, even at the local level, talking about, IT projects or cybersecurity projects, these aren't kind of the, attention-grabbing municipal projects that taxpayers are sometimes thinking about, but ultimately are what's going to protect us from those ransomware attacks, the phishing schemes, cybersecurity threats, and It's not just large governments. It's not just the FAA, which is experiencing issues, or airlines, but it's right down to your local government. And if all of a sudden the local police departments or water departments, public works can't access this technology, it can be crippling. In some of the early months that I was mayor, we made significant investments in cybersecurity, upgrading really soup to nuts the entire IT infrastructure at City Hall. And again, that's not something that residents would see in their neighborhood, but it helps protect them as taxpayers and helps protect really operations of city government. And I think you're going to see over the next several years more and more mayors, county executives, governors, and federal lawmakers talk about the need for cybersecurity, talk about its really need from a national security standpoint, but just also preventing interruptions like are happening today. It doesn't appear that this is any sort of attack at this point, but nonetheless, if we're not investing in our infrastructure of IT, we're going to be vulnerable to a lot of these things. It's something that I think about. It's something that I talk to our IT department at City Hall quite a bit about, actually.
One of the things that also has affected people in some parts of the United States have been reports of 911 outages. Now, I'm not aware of 911 issues right here in Broome County. I think the 911 dispatch system for the county has been working okay. I don't know if there was a glitch earlier today, but just that fact. Actually, now that I think about it, over the last year or two, there have been circumstances, just spot circumstances, sometimes for several hours or maybe even lasting more than a day, where we have seen even the county have to put out notices that the 911 system isn't working, and sometimes people have to resort to calling in with the full number, now a 10-digit number. Say if you wanted to report something to Binghamton Police, you'd have to dial 10 digits instead of just resorting to 911. Fortunately, it doesn't happen often, but we do know that it does happen on occasion. Probably is a reminder people should have the actual 10-digit number for their local police agency or even the local fire department in their phones, just in case.
Absolutely, and I know that the Binghamton Police, regularly deal with residents. You can always, dial 911, of course. But the time to look up the non-emergency number or a way to get a hold of the BPD front desk is good to do when it's not an emergency. So you have that written down. You have a magnet on your fridge, and you can definitely call it in case of an emergency.
It's 10:17. We're talking with the Binghamton Mayor, Jared Cram, on this Friday morning. The Isaac Anzarut properties. Now, when you were with us a month ago, you mentioned finally the properties that were covered in the settlement that you announced last December. Those properties had officially been turned over to the city. One of the things that I believe has happened since then, at least one of those properties has had another fire. I mean, what we've seen, I think Channel 12 had reported, I don't know if it was a few days ago, that I think a building that was part of the Anzarut portfolio on Fayette Street had a fire. How much progress is being made in dealing with these properties? Some are just vacant land, parcels that have nothing on them, but many of them still have buildings that some cases may be occupied, many cases they're unoccupied, and trust me, I've seen several of them. They're in terrible shape.
Yeah, they're in terrible shape, and so we got that portfolio of properties, immediately between the Public Works Department and the Parks Department, looked to secure those properties, identify some of which had occupants that were paying rent and, were living in the properties, legally, and they had a right to be there. Others, due to their condition, had squatting situations or evidence of squatting situations. The fire on Fayette Street was very small. Obviously, the fire department had to respond, and the damage was minimal. But again, I think it is indicative of the problems that vacant, blighted properties bring to a neighborhood. And it really is a tough situation when even the city is in ownership of these properties, and we're looking to develop a plan to demolish the properties that are just too far gone, which many of these properties are, sell the properties to maybe nearby property owners if it's a side lot, or even if it's an existing business, and then partner with nonprofits to rehab the houses that should be saved and can add to neighborhood integrity. But we've discussed on the program before the dangers that squatting situations lead to. The properties on Henry Street, multiple properties that burned down, were a direct result of squatters being in those properties. It puts first responders in danger, and it also kind of brings a focus to why the city needs to be budgeting on an annual basis for funding to demolish these properties, why we need to work side by side with neighbors so they can alert police to any suspicious activity, as well as the Parks Department and DPW to make sure that the properties are clean and boarded up. And sometimes, people are looking to get into these properties and remove plywood and kind of by any means necessary. Now, you've done reporting on the Masonic Temple on Main Street. Despite a lot of efforts, people kind of still find a way in. So it's a problem that all cities face with aging housing stock, but we've budgeted for the funding to demolish these properties. We're going to be doing some pre-demolition asbestos screening on the properties to get them ready and redevelop them and make sure that they're no longer neighborhood eyesores.
You knew I was going to bring up Masonic anyway, because it seems to happen almost every time you're here. So the latest development in the never-ending saga, as these things go, relatively minor, but somebody over the last few days in the latest installment of Masonic graffiti has scrawled on the front of the building, "Let it rot." Well, fortunately, that's what it looks like is happening here. It's just let it rot. The thing has been out of commission. I don't know if it's been 2 or 3 decades. Certainly, at one point, Isaac Ansrud bought it from some people who had development plans, but they certainly had nowhere near the amount of money that they needed to turn it into a community center or an event center. And then Isaac Ansrud at one point, he talked with me at length about trying to get the place back in operation in time for its 100th anniversary. I took him at his word, but very little happened. I mean, some efforts were made to clean out some of the debris, but here we go again. So that is now in the hands of a bank, I think a Long Island bank, and a new real estate broker, I guess, has it listed. But let's face it, at least for the foreseeable future, it seems highly unlikely anybody will come along to buy the property, because they'll realize it could take $10 million or more to make it viable. So in the meantime, what can be done aside from just letting it rot?
Well, I don't think letting it rot is the option. We continue to be aggressive with the property manager when the grass is growing too high, which it's done multiple times this summer, or there's graffiti on the building, or there's evidence that there's been break-ins. We will continue to do that. But we also have to recognize that private property ownership rights exist. This bank has not indicated that they want to propose demolition of the property. There's certainly no one that I'm aware of that is saying, "Hey, we got to demolish the Masonic Temple." As I said multiple times on the program, whether it's properties like the Masonic Temple, the Victory Building in Johnson City, and the big example, the former inebriate asylum on the east side. These projects, take years to develop. It has to be the right type of person that has a vision for the property. And the Masonic Temple, I think, still remains a historic asset. It's on the register of historic properties. And there's going to be years where there is no activity, or we're dealing with quality of life issues that surround that property. The city is certainly not proposing to take it over, buy it, demolish it, that type of thing, nor is, I think, anyone saying that needs to happen. I think the bank is going to right now be tasked with finding a future use. While that's happening, they're continuing to pay the taxes. They're going to continue to be responsible for maintenance. they're only going to deal with that for so long before it becomes time where they even give it up and maybe stop paying taxes on it, and it goes into county foreclosure. I think if it was ever a point where someone has failed to pay the taxes and it is going through the Broome County foreclosure process, I think at that point we have to have a conversation about, really what is the future use of this site? What is possible? How much more can we kind of deal with a vacant, boarded up, blighted building on our main street, while also weighing kind of certainly the historical concerns and the wish of a lot of folks in the community to preserve that building. But I think until it actually gets foreclosed on, let's say for not paying the taxes, we're limited to what authority we have over that building, aside from holding the current property owner accountable to make sure that they keep it upkept.
In the meantime, it sticks out like a sore thumb, and it's just a block and a half from the high school. Thousands of people pass by it every day, and it just sends, or to me, it seems to send a message of a city in decay. I mean, we've had so much downtown, a little bit to the east, has made a lot of progress over the last 10 or 15 years. But then that section over on the west side, at least as exemplified by the Masonic Temple, the largest piece of property that's unused right now on Main Street, it's sitting there, and it's almost like mocking people either who live in the neighborhood or people who go by. And it's sort of, essentially, it's the gateway to downtown.
Yeah, and I think it brings up a good point about what we need to do and what the city, is doing to think about our gateways. Another property that is further up Main Street, which had kind of a similar vibe, was the former Giant, which obviously City Church is underway on a rehabilitation. But what you just described about the Masonic Temple is exactly my arguments that I've been making about the Binghamton Plaza, right? A lot different sort of scenarios, but as a city, and certainly, as mayor, I don't want to just kind of throw up my hands and say, well, we can't do anything. These properties will never get better, and we just have to kind of live through the decline. I think Masonic Temple is at the early stages of that, and as I've outlined, I think if it was ever foreclosed because of non-payment of taxes, we have to have a serious conversation. But the Binghamton Plaza was that same type of situation, I would argue much worse, on the north side of the city of Binghamton. And we took, immediate action. It was, the time frame for the plaza owners to appeal the decision in the city's favor on the eminent domain has passed. So it's incumbent on the city to take action. And I think, residents need to also think about and be aware that when there's a problem in your neighborhood, right, if the city isn't the one taking action, there is no other level of government that's going to be that concerned. So neighborhood issues are always at the top of my list, hearing from residents about things in their neighborhood that need to be better, whether it's a broken up street that they're living on, a blighted house next door, a business that may be the hub of criminal activity. These are the neighborhood issues that the municipality and a municipal level are kind of uniquely qualified and positioned to try to fix.
So you mentioned the Binghamton Plaza eminent domain case. So the 30 days that the owners from New Jersey had to indicate whether they wanted to appeal the court ruling, that period has passed. So what happens now?
So now what happens is that there is a prescribed next steps, which start with evaluation of the property. City appraisers need to gain access to the property, both inside and outside, to determine a value of the property. And I'm sure there's going to be further discussions. To date, the last that I heard, there was really no communication, even casual communication on between the city and the plaza owners through our attorneys. So they have not really been responsive. As I mentioned before, did not even send an attorney to the appellate division hearing, which was odd. And so we're continuing to move forward. The businesses that are currently there will continue to operate for a long period of time. The general timeline on this is that sometime later this year or early next year, the city will actually gain the title to that property. And my goal is that before the end of the year 2025, that demolition on that plaza begins.
I've wondered, do you think that this is all part of a calculated business decision by the Binghamton Plaza owners, that they actually are looking at what the city is doing, going through this eminent domain process? It'll take time. Obviously, it's a time-consuming legal process. But in the end, as part of the process, they'll wind up getting money for the property, whatever it turns out to be, and that this represents a convenient exit strategy for a depressed property that they've had for decades in Binghamton, that this is actually convenient for them. They perhaps are saying, we have all the time in the world, and then we'll take it. We'll wind up getting the maximum amount of money for this property that we otherwise would never have received. Is that a possibility?
I don't think it's a possibility, because you remember in the early stages of this, one of our first legal actions was to break the bankruptcy protection that was on this plaza, that then resulted in the plaza owners paying more than $500,000 in taxes. So the plaza owners were very satisfied with the status quo.
To let the tax bill just keep rising and rising and not paying the bill as it came due.
That's correct. So they are certainly not. I'm certainly fans of the Cram administration as it relates to this eminent domain action, and we have kind of taken a strong position that this is not something that they wanted to see happen, because they were very satisfied with, I think, keeping the plaza in its current condition for as long as possible. They had this bankruptcy protection that meant they weren't paying their local taxes, their school district, their county, and their city taxes. And our affirmative action on this definitely shook up the situation. And I don't believe that they're using this or viewing this as kind of a way out. They've had legal expenses that they've had to incur. This was not something that they are going along with, definitely.
Talking with Binghamton Mayor Jared Cram on a Friday morning on Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph. We've got more coming right up on WNBF. Speaking with the Binghamton Mayor, Jared Cram, at 10:34. Boscov's. What's going on with the Boscov's renovations? I've been told that perhaps the plans for some of the improvements that were announced with a great deal of fanfare several months ago are not going to happen as quickly as originally expected.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think there is a lot of work that needs to be done kind of behind the scenes. There's a lot of lead times on some of the equipment. When you're talking about elevator, HVAC, electrical equipment, getting those on order. We're also working with our state partners on getting the grant money to the BLDC, which is another and kind of important part of this. So I actually did a walkthrough, I guess it was about a week ago, with the Boscov's kind of top brass and with our construction consultant, other city officials, doing a walkthrough of exactly mapping out where improvements are going to be made, answering some questions, bringing back to our contractors exactly what needs to take place. So it's very active. They're in the planning and prep stages. Boscov's also, just practically speaking, does not want to have a store ripped apart during their Christmas and holiday shopping season. So there was never a scenario where there would be a large amount of construction happening from that, call it Labor Day through the end of the year, as that's their prime time. So things are moving, as expected. And again, getting that commitment from Boscov's was big for downtown. And the parking garage, getting that open as well, at least one floor of it, before the holiday shopping season will be important to Boscov's as well. I think I've been on since the final piece of concrete was in place. It actually went faster than originally thought. It was a little under 45 days. And so that parking garage being in place and now the finishing happening on it is another good sign for the Boscov's project.
So the first level is still expected to be open before Thanksgiving?
That's correct.
And then at this point, based on current projections, when could the whole complex, all levels of the parking facility, be open for people?
I would say, shortly thereafter. The weather so far has been good for construction, despite some of the rain that we've had recently. And the contractors, everyone involved in this project knows of the time constraints. We have a local general contractor, William H. Lane, which is always good to have someone local. Their offices are a block or two away right in downtown Binghamton. So they understand the time crunch. They have had their crews out there in earnest, and we're really looking forward to that garage opening. Bob, maybe we can have you be the first one to drive the WNBF news vehicle through the garage as the first paying customer. Maybe we'll give it to you for free even on the day that it opens.
Well, I think from an ethical standpoint, we'll pay just so there can be I'll pay double.
Okay.
So if it's supposed to be a $1 fee or a $2 fee, I'm willing to pay up to $20 if we wind up being first.
Yeah,
we don't want to show favoritism. You also have to invite all other media.
We should probably have a lottery. All of the TV stations, Spectrum, WNBF, WICZ, WBNG,
WSKG.
Can't forget the public radio, as well as the Press and Sun Bulletin.
Absolutely. So everybody gets a fair shake.
That's right.
It's 10:38 at WNBF. Just briefly getting back to Boscov. So was Jim Boscov here?
That's correct.
That latest walkthrough. He's the president and CEO. So I gather, though, from what you said, that it appears, say, between now and the holiday shopping season, for example, people are not going to see the escalator in Boscov's gone before the shopping season. I mean, that type of major interior work probably is not going to happen until next year.
That's correct. There will be some things seen at the men's store, which is obviously a big part of that store and their square footage. So some new lighting, everything. As you know, the men's store was moved out of there while there was some roofing and drainage work being done as part of the garage demolition. But yeah, we certainly don't want a situation where their busiest time of the year, and really where their employees, and they hire the most people, they're making the most money, is interrupted by construction. And then again, practically, there are just long lead times on some of the equipment that has to be purchased as part of this project.
Will the parking ramp entrances for the new facility be similar to what they were with the old parking garage between the Boscov store and the new garage when it finally is completely open?
Similar with some differences. On the ground floor, there will no longer be a direct access from the garage to Boscov's, but folks will just have to leave the garage, walk about 5 feet, and then walk into the Boscov. So there'll be kind of an exit of the parking garage and then an entrance to Boscov's. However, on the second story, there will be a direct access ramp from the upper story of the parking garage to the second floor of Boscov's, as there was previously.
It's 10:40 WNBF. It's Friday, Binghamton Now, with Bob Joseph. Our guest is Mayor Jared Graham. We've got more coming up in a moment on 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, streaming at WNBF.com. As we continue our discussion about Binghamton City issues, so finally, there is a lot of activity going on at the former Cogen plant at 22 Charles Street, in the First Ward, just off Clinton Street. And I know we did a report. Looks like our first report was just a little over a month ago, and I spotted some guys working there. And I said, well, that's interesting. It turns out that a company called Firomar is turning the old cogeneration plant that was used by Anatech into a production facility. And the guy in charge, I was able to catch him. He was at JFK Airport at 3 p.m. on a Friday and heading back to Italy to visit his family. But I was able to catch him before he got on his flight. And so he gave me a little overview of what's being done and a look ahead to the next few months. So finally, there is activity at that cogen plant that the city wound up getting from that California company after they came to the conclusion it could no longer be profitable to have as a so-called peaker plant. They had to get out of that business, and so the city finally found someone. Tell me a little background how that happened with the Local Development Corporation.
Sure, and I will say, the company Firomar, we're very excited about it. They are a bit in the early stages of the process. There's some state approvals and some other things that are kind of pending, so I don't want to get too far out ahead of it. But the history of that power plant is a very interesting one. During Mayor David's administration, a company called Wellhead out of California, I think Sacramento, was decommissioning that power plant, and through some conversations, were able to donate it to the city of Binghamton. Well, it was donated after the energy generating turbine was removed from that power plant, really rendering it a really nice, well-maintained industrial building with a lot of things in there, but not what would make it be a power plant. Also, due to the new state regulations on peaker plants and the governor's climate goals, it was very clear that that can never operate as a power generating facility. So it's been a bit of a struggle, I think, from the city's standpoint to try to market this very unique building. But we were able to find a company that is very interested in it. They want to be in New York State. They want to be in Binghamton. And essentially what's happening right now is that there is a removal process of all of the existing kind of guts of that power plant to allow for them to utilize it to manufacture high efficiency building panels that can be used in new construction as well as retrofitting. So the story that we're telling in that 22 Charles Street property is really an interesting one. It's kind of transitioning from a natural gas firing power plant to now a kind of clean energy future, and the manufacturing of clean energy building panels that help reduce carbon emissions and help people save money as part of new construction and retrofitting. So we're very excited about it. Again, it's in the very early stages. The city is helping them out on some logistical matters, like with NYSEG, and making sure that, you know, they get the building permits in. But I'm very excited. I actually, a week ago today, was at the facility seeing what the latest was going on. There's a lot of work being done, and I know that over the next several months, I'm sure we'll have much more exciting announcements as it relates to that facility.
What else is going to be happening over at the Charles Street Park? It's been, to me, it seems like there were a lot of potential opportunities or hopes for the Charles Street Business Park, and over more than a decade, those hopes and expectations have just never been realized. I mean, fortunately, the big building is now used by AI or IA, mm-hmm. Innovation Associates. So it's nice to see several dozen people working there, but there's still a significant space that's part of the Charles Street Business Park. So what's going to come in the future there? Cannabis-related operations, or what else?
We have a number of different interested parties, some of which have gone public. You mentioned the cannabis cultivation and manufacturing. They are awaiting state approval from the Office of Cannabis Management and the Cannabis Board on citing a new build facility there. We have interest from Firamar on ways that they can expand their operation in the future. Again, I don't want to get too kind of far ahead of it. And then we have a number of other interested, actually local companies that are looking towards the Charles Street Business Park as their venue for new construction. So the number of different option agreements that officials with the Binghamton Local Development Corporation are working on and trying to kind of piece together these economic development deals. I will say there is more interest now than there's ever been in Charles Street. And I think that is partly due to Innovation Associates, a national pharmaceutical technology company, making their national headquarters here in the First Ward, bringing in about 75 jobs. That is a showcase that this is a place where people want to be. Obviously, there's new activity at 22 Charles Street. Again, a very innovative company doing work across the world with Firamar. So you start to build this momentum, and as soon as the next shovel hits the ground with someone looking to build at the Charles Street Business Park, it will only kind of continue to that momentum, and we have a lot of interest from folks that are exploring new builds there.
It's 10:49 on WNBF. A listener called my attention to an apparent homeless encampment over on the east side off Abbott Street. And I think the property now is owned by the city. The listener says police frequently have been called there. Sometimes there are reports of people beating each other up. And I stopped by there yesterday. I didn't want to venture in because it didn't look like safe, and I really didn't think it would be in my best interest to explore what was going on inside there off Abbott Street and Broad Avenue. Are you aware of that spot as being one of the trouble spots involving encampments?
Not in particular have I, personally been aware of that. But if residents are saying there's been police activity, it sounds like something that BPD is aware of. Recently I have been a little bit more attuned to some of the riverfront and kind of encampments along the river. But what you described and what the resident has described as well is, I think, again, points to the fact that these encampments are not safe. They're not safe for the people that live there. They're not sanitary. And they're also not safe for the residents that may live, work, or traverse near these encampments. And I think, again, we talked about a few weeks ago my opposition to the proposed law that would completely take away a lot of the powers of city officials, including members of the Binghamton Police Department, in clearing these encampments and making sure that things are safe, and would lead to, I think, a spiraling situation in which individuals who are encamped on public property like city parks or sidewalks are able to do so really without fear of any type of consequences. And we see the examples of what's happened in other cities. I mentioned Ithaca to you a few weeks ago. The new mayor of Ithaca is taking steps to rein that into control a little bit and taking some positive steps. We don't have to go to San Francisco or Portland to see what can happen when homeless encampments get out of control. And we just cannot have that happen in Binghamton. It would ruin downtown revitalization. It could ruin neighborhoods. And again, it's not safe for the people that are living in these encampments or the kids and the neighbors that are nearby them. As I said before, our kids deserve to play in parks that are free from hypodermic needles. Our kids deserve to not have to walk through areas that may have individuals who are encampments and we don't know what's going on. There's been a number of different issues involving gun violence, sexual assault, certainly drug use that are happening at these encampments. And our public works employees are tasked with cleaning them up. And our police department is tasked with responding to the crimes that are committed there. We've had arson. You did some great reporting, Bob, on what happened under the Bevere Street Bridge a few months ago. And so my position is very clear. We've heard from a lot of people in the business community and a lot of concerned residents about a deeply flawed law that City Council is considering.
10:53 at WNBF. Speaking of City Council, the only Republican member of Council, Michael Costi, was here on Tuesday, and he described a situation where he sort of feels alone, isolated. It's not surprising, 1 out of 7 members, a Republican member on council. The others are Democrats. But he has said he hasn't had any conversations with you since he became councilman. And the story he told sounded almost like he's being ostracized by the Binghamton and Broome County Republicans, suggesting perhaps that some people feel he's part of the Democratic Party's agenda in Binghamton. Are you going to be reaching out to Michael Costi and trying to develop a relationship during the next several months while he'll continue to represent the 6th District on the south side? Yeah,
I just want to be clear. I mean, I have had meetings with Councilman Costi. I've talked to him on the phone just recently as the last when we were heading into the last meeting. And specifically, actually, the phraseology I used is, I know you're not caucusing with anyone, right? The Democrats can have a caucus. As the lone member, he can have a caucus of one person. And I think I specifically said, hey, don't want you to ever feel like you're on an island. So if you have questions, ask them of me, ask them of the city's corporation council. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any issues or anything with Councilman Costi. He's reached out a couple times on some neighborhood issues, which we've dealt with. And again, I've reached out to him proactively before a couple of meetings.
All right. Speaking of the south side, there's that new convenience store, Stop and Shop Deli, apparently was open for a very short time and then suddenly closed. This is over at Conklin and Tompkins, where the Subway store had been. And I know from contacting City Hall, there were some issues involving that new business. Do you know where things stand? Because I'm sure the guy who put a lot of time and effort and money into renovating the place would like to have the ability to get the place open again.
I'd love to see it open too. The issue with that is, unfortunately, it was some of the work that was done in the building was not done to code, and it was not something along the lines of a gutter was wrong or there was something wrong with the installation of a front step. These were major kind of public safety issues with a fire suppression system, as well as a third-party electrical inspection that did not pass. So we certainly want to see new businesses open, but we don't want anything to be open to the public that could result in a fire hazard. My understanding is that there were some contractors there addressing the needs of the failed tests and the failed electrical inspection, and that, you know, it's something that they can get corrected and get that certificate of occupancy, because, you know, I know your story was that the city had shut them down. Certainly we wouldn't want the story to be an uninspected business opens, there's a fire, and all of a sudden there's a problem.
Also nearby on Conklin Avenue, it's been 3.5 months, I guess, 4 months since the Y store closed. What's the latest on, first, potentially something happening at that site at 307 Conklin Avenue?
I would say that our Office of Economic Development is in regular talks with the property owner, as well as a host of potential reuses of that site. I think we were speaking in the past where I think that obviously we don't want to see that building vacant. I think that having something like a grocery store would certainly fit the needs of that neighborhood. But if not, then a job creating or other economically boosting use. So if it's something where, hey, we don't have a grocery store there anymore, can it be something that provides an additional service to the neighborhood and say, the field of medical? Or is it something that is a job creator for the neighborhood? So folks who live there can even walk to work, or there's positive economic activity that supports one of our local small businesses. So having a productive use is important to me, and I think that it'll be more likely to happen that is a different type of use than was there before with the Weiss grocery store.
So have you had any direct conversations with the Akels who own the property?
I had a direct conversation a few months back when the store closure was noticed. I personally have not talked to them since, but members of my administration have over the course of many months.
And in terms of just trying to, whether it's in that particular part of the city, that corner of the south side, or a few of the other neighborhoods that are still struggling in terms of having access to good, healthy food, is there more that the city can do to assist those people, especially those who lack transportation?
Yeah, it was announced some weeks back that Chow and Council of Churches was expanding a new mobile bus operation that would service, I think, specifically some of the areas at Saratoga Heights that would be impacted by that grocery store. And we're always up to continue to invest in food insecurity programs that address food insecurity. If you talk to anyone involved in that industry right now, really since COVID, there's been an explosion, no matter if you have a grocery store in your neighborhood or not, of food insecurity of folks in our community. So we're addressing that. We've made some investments with Chow to expand freezer capacity, and we'll continue to spend local and grant dollars to help that cause.
Binghamton Mayor Jared Cram, thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Bob.
It's 10:59. This is WNBF's Binghamton Now. This is Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph on a Friday morning. And we're joined in the studio by Mark Murphy, the man who founded Greenlight Networks, a Binghamton native. Welcome back to our program.
Thanks for the invitation, Bob. Always happy to be here.
And for people who may not be aware, you're a Seton Catholic Central High School graduate. And as I recall, you grew up on the west side?
That's right. Yep. I'm actually also in town to help raise some money for the Danielle House. Many of my classmates get together this weekend every year to raise some money for that good cause.
So while you're busy with the work of expanding Greenlight Networks, you're also still working with people, friends, and former associates here in Binghamton and Broome County.
Yep, and had a chance, of course, to stay at my mom's house and get some of her good cooking this morning.
Yeah. Has Binghamton changed much over the last decade or two?
It certainly has, even, walking around downtown over time. I mean, I remember when I was in high school and I was on, my first job was with the Mayor's Action Team, which was a part of the Parks Department, and I got to learn in the School of Hard Knocks, going around here, sweeping up the sidewalks and picking up garbage and making Binghamton a nicer place to be and help the businesses down here grow.
Who was mayor?
It was Mayor Crabb a few years back.
Yeah, she had been the youngest mayor to be elected to Binghamton until Jared Cram was elected, and he was 30 when he took office.
Yep.
So we've had young mayors before. For people not familiar with the story of Greenlight Networks, and you've had an opportunity to tell the story in the past, but give us sort of an overview how Greenlight Networks came to be.
So we're actually coming up on our 13th anniversary at the end of the month. I had an opportunity to work for a number of different cable TV and telecommunications companies up in Rochester, New York, and had an opportunity. A friend at the time was building a new apartment complex in the Rochester area, and we had been talking on and off for years as I've been trying to get Greenlight off the ground. And we decided to start putting fiber optics into apartments at the time, and to provide a very different internet experience for the residents. And he asked us to come in and help him do that. And then over time, we've grown. We had an opportunity, and I'm very thankful to Tom Golisano for really accelerating our growth. Probably back in 2018, and since then it's been an unbelievable ride. We had an opportunity to acquire a company locally here in Binghamton, Plexicom, Dan English's company here, and we've been able to take that and grow that, and that's kind of been the foundation of our network down here in Binghamton, and work with and grow with a lot of customers here in the area, both businesses and residents.
And over the last few years, Greenlight has been working to expand the coverage area in many neighborhoods in Broome County and into Tioga County. Tell us a little bit about the status of the rollout into new neighborhoods around the Triple Cities.
Sure. So we've taken a lot of the work that Dan had started with at Plexicom in Broome and Tioga counties. We've expanded across a lot of the areas. As a matter of fact, we're about done with the west side of Binghamton now. We've been doing a lot of work in Enwell, Town of Union, Endicott, Johnson City, Owego, as I said. And, we hope to continue to grow we think we can get to about 40 to 50,000 homes over the next year or two. And we're making good progress toward that. And I think we've actually been accelerating that deployment pretty considerably over the last year. So I think you're going to see more and more neighborhoods coming up and online. And it's always humbling and gratifying is once we're in these neighborhoods, people are really excited to get the service. Some are very excited on social media and are wondering when they're going to get it. And that, I think that just tells you that it's a very different service and a different internet experience than they're getting today with the cable company.
So what are the biggest challenges that you currently are facing?
It's similar to many industries. I mean, getting enough labor. I mean, I think we partner with NYSEG very well, and we continue to work better and better together, both of our teams in conjunction with that, because we want to work safely. So that's a very important thing. So, if you see our construction and how we do it, we get close to power lines, and so we want to make sure that our folks have a safe work environment and do that in conjunction with the utility company. But you look at it like the last week or two we've had where there's been storms all over the greater New York, and actually I got to see a tornado up in Canandaigua, New York earlier in the week, which was something. But with that destruction, a lot of those crews that we depend on to get work done are mobilized and sent all over the U.S. So those are crews that are then not available to get the work done we need them to do here.
We're speaking with Mark Murphy, founder of Greenlight Networks. Here we are this morning with global tech outage. That was what I woke up to, and you probably heard about it right after you got up to speed this morning, as this IT problem that's affected significant portions in the United States and many European countries and elsewhere. Has that had any impact on Greenlight Networks operations?
Thankfully, no. We are not a CrowdStrike customer, and so we were not impacted by that. But we're continuing to be vigilant to make sure that, we can't do a victory dance quite yet, because you never know when these types of issues can happen, and you have to do everything you can to make sure that you can continue to be responsive to customers. And obviously, we know how important our service is to both businesses and our consumer customers as well.
And this is just the latest in a series of things involving technology that probably caused so many of us to wonder, since we're so reliant on it, and whether it's our home lives, our personal lives, or our work environments, it seems we can't get a whole lot done without our internet, without our computers. And whether it's what's happening now with this issue, and I'm sure we'll get more information throughout the day, or, for example, the ransomware issues. And we saw the trouble that, say, Guthrie Lord's Hospital has had because they were still part of the Ascension network when Ascension was facing a ransomware attack. Just seems that no matter where you look, we are, as a nation, as a world, we're still very vulnerable.
Yeah, and I think, we're going to continue to look to find ways to provide more security alternatives for our customers. We're doing that right now and looking for other opportunities to continue to give our customers the tools they need to work, play, and live on the internet.
You were at the Ross Park Zoo just a few minutes ago. I'm glad you were able to make time after your announcement at the zoo. Tell us about what Greenlight Networks is announcing today in conjunction with the zoo.
Yeah, it was a real treat to be up there, and especially after the press event ended, to be able to see all the families that were taking advantage of our free admission offer at the zoo today. And there's certainly still time for folks to go up there and take advantage of it and get to meet some members of our team. And we had a lot of engagement this morning. But we partnered with the zoo on a couple things. One is we're now the corporate sponsor for the new wolf exhibit up there. And if you haven't had a chance to see it, it's really been well done. And we got to see 2 of the 4 wolves out and about this morning, which was pretty neat. And then our other announcement was that we have brought our Greenlight Internet service up to the zoo, which is going to help them enhance a lot of their programming. And as we've learned, one of the challenges with the terrain there is that, getting cell coverage or other services up there has continued to be a challenge. And we'll continue to work with the zoo on getting a public Wi-Fi service available there that's like we've done in other places, including Greenlight Grand Slam Park, not far from here, being able to give customers a real differentiated experience and an opportunity to sample how Greenlight service is different than what they may be accustomed to getting.
As far as just expansion, looking forward, how big, how fast can Greenlight Networks grow, continue? Where will it end?
I'm not sure when it'll end, but I think, right now we're continuing to expand across New York State as we were talking before we went on the air. I mean, there's no shortage of people here in Binghamton that we have yet to serve. So, the reality for us is there's only in every market that we serve, the utilities and the amount of labor and contractors and workforce that we can assemble in any one area is we get to a maximum and we can't go faster than that. So we're able to get to multiple places at once. And we're continuing to look at more places. We've recently announced expansion not far from here in the Hudson Valley. in Wallkill, in the Goshen area, and we're continuing to grow there as well as up in Albany, Buffalo, Rochester, and of course here.
Mark Murphy, the CEO, president of Greenlight Networks. Thank you for being with us today. I wish you the best.
Thanks so much, Bob.
11:23, live and local. This is Binghamton Now on WNBF. We're joined now by Broome County Executive Jason Garner with an update on some of the impact at the Broome County level because of the global technology glitch. Good morning, Mr. Garner. Thanks for coming on the program. What's the latest as far as the county is concerned?
Well, good morning, Bob, and good morning, Broome County. As you were saying, there is currently a global technology outage occurring that affects mainly Windows computers. And from what I'm able to understand, an update went out to Windows 365 users between midnight and 1 a.m. The update rendered many of the Windows machines inoperable. I guess the best way I could describe it, and the best way that I saw it, seeing one of the computers that was affected, was that computers that were negatively affected by the update got the blue screen of death. It was just in a blue screen. And the issue that we've had is typically when we have these system-wide issues with computers, we can simply, like our IT department, can send out a fix to all the computers at once. It appears that this update, in many cases, requires manual fixes, which would mean that somebody from IT would have to get on to the computer that had the blue screen of death and then basically go in and delete this update and then reinstall the update that actually works. So to kind of describe how this affects the county, we have roughly 2,000 people here. Many people have computers. So we had to quickly implement a plan to see which computers were affected, which ones weren't, and then deploy our IT staff to the computers that were, in our opinion, the most important to be restored quickly. We're hopeful that we're going to get all the computers restored by the end of the day. The other thing that's an issue here with county services, and I'll talk about the county services that are affected, is that some of our services operate on state software. So, for example, a lot of DSS services run on state software. Certainly the DMV is all run on state software. And so those systems are down. So how does this affect the county? Well, so for today, for the most part, county government is closed. So if you, for example, DMV, all the locations are closed. Department of Social Services closed. So residents can expect that just about every single part of the county is closed to the public, with some exceptions. And this is all on our website, but I'll just go through it real quick. Senior centers are open. Parks are open. Willow Point is open as normal. The Arena box office is open. BC Transit is running. Meals on Wheels is operating. The DA's office and probation office will open at 11:30, and our landfill is open as well. I would say check GoBroomeCounty.com. We have a section of our website right at the main page where we're updating what's closed and what's not. Certainly events like we have a Bands and Brews event at the Arena tonight, a shredding event at SUNY Broome is also going on over the weekend. Events are all going on, but for the most part, any type of public-facing offices is pretty much closed in the county, as we simply can't provide people the services without, in many cases, without having those computers and the operating systems. For example, to sign people up for benefits or to get people license or a DMV registration processed or something like that. So that's pretty much where we're at. We do expect, we talked to the State Division of Homeland Security Services. We had a call with them this morning. We do expect and we're hopeful that all the services should be up and running by Monday. That's what the hope is at the start of business Monday. But certainly check out the county website for any updates as we go through today and into the weekend.
Speaking with Broome County Executive Jason Garner, live at 11:30 on WNBF Binghamton. Some parts of the country have experienced 911 outages. Has there been any report of any difficulties with incoming calls at the 911 center or any dispatching issues?
So the 911 center has been up and running throughout this whole event. People have been able to make phone calls, and phone calls have been able to be dispatched. I think there was a couple of hours where we weren't able to get data immediately into the system. We had to put it on paper. But in terms of people, people had an emergency, they were able to call, get through to a 911 operator. The 911 operator was able to dispatch any emergency response that was needed. But for a couple hours, there was some data. All that data has to be entered into the system. And I think for a little while, the operators had to enter those incidents on paper. And then, the system is now fully functioning and running. But at no time was anybody not able to call in and with an emergency and get the appropriate emergency response that was required.
Yeah, I was advised that indeed there was a time where 911, the operation was affected, and I'm guessing perhaps some aspects of the way, say, the dispatch or the way the information pops up automatically on screens, maybe that could have been affected for a time.
Yep. But the most important thing was people were able to call in and get their emergencies dispatched to the appropriate agency. But certainly all that information is online, right? All those operating systems are on computers, and it just about everything else. I mean, if you're going to go into the Department of Social Services and you need to apply for benefits or unemployment, or you need to go to the DMV and get your registration or license renewed or something like that. Those particular systems are, and this is the issue that we have, some of the major issues that we have, they're all on state systems, and those are not something that we even can control. Some of the systems that we use that are available for the public can't even control some of the state systems, so we're kind of waiting for those to come online as well. But, a lot of county personnel all the county personnel are at work today. Office of Emergency Services is working around the clock along with a number of county employees, along with our IT department, to get all of our computer systems back up and running from this incident.
So based on everything that at this moment as we approach midday, there's no reason to think that the county would have to be in a state of emergency because of IT-related issues.
No, we had conversations with the Broome County Sheriff. He's, sheriff patrols are going out as normal. He's concentrated as always on public safety. It's just the county departments that rely on computer systems that typically provide services, and typically the largest ones, the public-facing ones that rely on those, like the DMV, the Department of Social Services, are unfortunately not going to be able to open today because of this software update incident, this global outage. But we expect to get everything out, up and running on Monday, and certainly I would encourage anybody to go to our website, gobroomecounty.com, for further updates as we go into this weekend and into a Monday. And I would also say, if you have any questions about whether an office is open, go to our website, and all of our offices have phone numbers, and you can certainly, call them and if you have any questions.
Although it may not be necessary on Monday, if it is a situation that still has some lingering impact for Broome County or its residents, feel free to let us know, and we can give people the latest information in real time.
No, absolutely. We've been updating people through our website this morning as soon as we were able to figure out and identify what the issue is, and that's why I'm on the phone with you. We'll be doing a media update a little bit later in the day, but certainly, through you and through other local media, we'll certainly provide updates as they come in when they're needed.
Broome County Executive Jason Garner, thanks for being with us on Binghamton Now.
You're welcome, Bob. Have a great weekend.
You too. It's 11:35. WNBF Live and Local, the information that you need. News as it happens. And of course, we continue to keep you posted on air and online, so keep our website sort of as one of your favorites. May already be that. If there are any big breaking developments, we'll let you know on air and online. 607-772-1290. We're live on the air at 92.1 FM, 1290 AM, and always available using the WNBF app. I'm Bob Joseph. Yes, there is still time. It's still time for you to check in if you have thoughts about what is actually going on around this wonderful world of ours. It's just another day in paradise, as they say. And the great thing is, the day isn't even half over. So think about that. I think it's already been filled with intrigue and surprises. It's possible that Bachman and Turner were right. But baby, you ain't seen nothing yet. Yeah, it could be. Let's see. Oh, weather. Everybody says they want to hear more about the weather. So, of course, sometimes it's easier said than done. I'm not going to say things are flawless, because from a technological standpoint, I'll just say, I would say most things are working here at the studio. It's still a little hit or miss. Every once in a while you find some system that seems to be acting up. But then again, it's just an act. Here's the forecast. Sunny today, 80. Mainly clear tonight, 58. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon, the high 82. And then Sunday, sunny with a high of 85. And of course, right now, the thermometer has been compromised. So you can figure it out for yourself. If you want to know what the temperature is, go outside and experience it. Use yourself as a natural thermometer. Hi, WNBF. You're on the air. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
It's Beverly. How long is this supposed to last, Bob?
Oh, the tech outage?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it's going to last too much longer. I think for the most part, the biggest problems seem to have been resolved. So, I mean, it all depends. What I don't know, because I've been stuck here in the studio, I don't know really what the situation is with stores. One person reported that the beautiful House of Sports, the magnificent 140,000 square foot edifice at the Oakdale Commons in Johnson City was closed, but I don't know if that's changed.
Yeah, because I just called a place of business, and they told me that that part of theirs was working and the other part wasn't.
Well, that may be the case in many places because it's like even here, I was operating for most of the program for the first 2.5 hours with the fantasy that everything was fine, and then I just discovered in the last few minutes that not everything is really working up to snuff. So I'm not really clear. The exact scope. It's just the main thing is when I leave here at 12:15 to go out and report, I want to be able to get myself a giant tank full of gas.
Yeah, you might want to.
Yeah, by the way, I did have contact with someone not too long ago, shortly after the one listener was saying that, say, the gas stations couldn't process any transactions and you couldn't get gas anywhere. And one of our correspondents reported, no, in fact, the gas stations he checked were open and apparently the gas was flowing freely.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, I have a Chrome, so I wasn't affected.
Well, that's a smart thing. Almost makes me wish that I had gone out and bought one of those MacBook Pros again after mine just suddenly gave up one morning after 16 months of dedicated service. But I guess I opted for a Windows-based system because I was so disappointed that my expensive, beautiful, sleek MacBook thing.
I bought my Chrome computer down at one of the stores, and one of the co-workers wanted it for themselves, and I said, mine's out of commission, and she says, well, I'll tell you what, you really want it? So I bought it for $150, and I've had the same one for 7 years.
Well, see, some people get lucky. Not everybody. You know what I think? I probably got one of their computers that was probably made on a Monday when everybody came in and either had a hangover or maybe it was Friday and everybody's saying, oh, well, the weekend's here, so why should we put Bob's computer together so it lasts more than 16 months?
Should have lasted quite a while, Bob.
One would think for the amount of money that, as they say, as a government official would say, for the amount of money I invested in that thing, one would have thought it would have worked flawlessly for at least 2 years.
No, it should have worked longer than that, Bob.
I know. But you know what? I'm not bitter.
No, I'm not either.
No, I just, what I decided was it's actually my part of helping the economy. They keep selling me these very expensive pieces of technology. I keep buying them, and they have apparently planned obsolescence or some sort of program. So it keeps me buying more, and I think that's one way that the U.S. economy is getting stronger, thanks to the tech companies that ensure that we're always going to have to buy more stuff.
No, that all over or just locally?
Oh, the glitch, the problem now?
Yeah.
No, it's across the country and around the world.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah.
I was just wondering, because I called this place and they said that the half part is good, the other half isn't.
Yeah, I'd like to know.
Okay.
I'd like to have a congressional investigation into exactly what happened, because just between you and me, I have a lot of questions, and so far, very few answers, because it seems to me something like this shouldn't be allowed to happen.
Yeah, I know. Okay, Bob,
all right.
Thank you, and have a pleasant weekend.
Okay, I will. Don't let it get you down. It's 11:46 at WNBF with Bob Joseph. Don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. If you want donuts, the place over there is still making lots of donuts. Their donut production hasn't been adversely affected, so there's the good news. Our clock is still working. It's 11:47. Or, as they would say on some station, 13 before the hour on WNBF. What else is going on here? Oh, my gosh. Oh, we haven't really talked much about politics today. So the thing is, and I thought somebody would call in, so they're circulating all these stories about President Biden finally understanding that he has to make a big announcement, and he should be making his big announcement rather soon. So, and then some people, apparently, who work at the White House and really love their jobs, and let's face it, if you work at the White House, who wants to leave? And then when you hear that your boss might not be sticking around much longer, you might say, well, gee, I thought I was set for the next 4 or 4.5 years, and now you come to find out, because it seems that people are coming to the conclusion that Joe Biden is not going to be able to win a second term, so alternate plans are necessary. So there is a little pushback from the White House people, because think about it, if you were in the same situation, you would be pushing back too, because you want to keep your job. But the latest information suggests that some of the key Democrats, including Hakeem Jeffries, Binghamton University graduate, and Senator Charles Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi, and some of the other Democratic luminaries, have been working to explain to President Biden that unfortunately, it's not going to work out the way he had hoped. So we'll see. Now, some people have said, and these people have been anonymous, so it may be they know something, or it could be they don't know anything, but they just like to seem like big shots. But some people have said that they think there could be an announcement from President Biden as early as Sunday. Well, who knows? Who knows? Personally, I think it would be wise, if he intends to make an announcement about his future, I think it would be wise to do it on Sunday night on 60 Minutes. Because everybody in the country probably will be watching 60 Minutes. So just for kicks, even though they almost always do their show taped, just for kicks, they should do 60 Minutes live with President Biden. And without that crazy stopwatch, the stopwatch has got to go. You know, it was cute for the first 4 decades. The stopwatch is no longer relevant. So get rid of the stopwatch at the beginning. Just open the show and say, hi, this is Geraldo. You're watching 60 Minutes. And our special guest is President Joseph Biden. Mr. President, you have an announcement. And then do it that way. I think that would be the way to go. If you need to make an announcement, if you make a decision, just do it live on 60 Minutes and just say, also, by the way, Geraldo, this is absolutely the only time I'm gonna talk about this. And then, oh my gosh. You know, there's always someone in the peanut gallery who disagrees. Now, there's a kid in Vestal. I'm not going to mention his name. There's a kid in Vestal who listens to the program sometimes, and he just wrote, keep the stopwatch. Yes, it actually is. It's Bob in Vestal. Okay, there. Bob in Vestal says, keep the stopwatch. All righty. Well, anyway, okay, keep the stopwatch, but still, Geraldo comes on, looks directly in the camera and says, "I'm Geraldo, welcome to 60 Minutes. And here's the first live edition we've ever done. And our special guest is the President of the United States, Joe Biden. Mr. President, tell us what we need to know." And just, hey, do it right then. Do it. As, who is that? Who was it? Geraldo had always said he wanted to, no, it wasn't Geraldo. Geraldo didn't mind doing it live because sometimes he wanted to record it because he wanted to start his weekend early. But, just for the first time ever on 60 Minutes, just do the whole thing live.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live!
Hi, WNBF. Are you with the phone company? Oh. Hi, WNBF. Good morning. Are you from the phone company? Hello?
Do it live. Do it live.
Yeah, are you with the phone company?
From the Binghamton company.
Is this the DJ phone company in Binghamton? Yeah, we've been having some problems.
Well, I'm not a DJ, and I'm not really from the phone company, but I play one in real life. My name's Douglas Jacob, but they call me DJ for short.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Bob, I was wondering, why didn't you ask him about Mayor Cram about the law that was just passed that you can take them out of the home encampments and down by the river? I was walking down there yesterday, and oh man, you would need
what happened?
Trucks to pick up. What?
What happened by the river? Was it the guy in his van?
Where I walked, you need five city trucks to pick up all that stuff. But the reason I called, hey, remember Melchus got his ear cut off? Remember Malchus, Malchus? He got his ear cut off because he went to arrest the Lord, and Peter freaked out and pulled out his knife and cut his ear off. And then the Lord picked up his ear and put it back on.
You realize, by the way, people are just getting set to go out to lunch. So just FYI, you got thousands of people getting set for lunch.
I'll make my point real quick. And it's got to move on anyway. We're in a time of healing. The president got his ear cut. It's healed. The doctors didn't even want to do anything. My dad, Jerry the barber, Mayor Bucci, went to see him in the hospital when he got robbed early in the morning at his barbershop over $40, and the dude wasn't even drunk or high. He was just having a whatever. And his ear was cut, and the doctors made his ear look like it never even was cut. So my point is, we're in a time of healing. If you watch that movie, the movie Passion of the Christ, look at the face of Malchus when the ear was put back on. He was standing like, oh, he couldn't believe it. And he came to arrest him. So we're in a time of healing. And, people can call him, I hated Trump's speech, but they're not getting the point. It's not about President Trump's speech. It's not about First Lady Melania last night. It's not about them. It's about us.
Did she show up?
Healing.
I mean, because she hasn't been around for weeks. Where did she actually show up? Because I heard that she was gonna get $100,000 appearance fee if she showed up. Did she show?
Funny you should ask, because when she showed up, I thought about you. I said, I wonder if Bob Joseph's watching this. He probably had to go to bed because she was like at the last minute. And
see, that's the problem. They should schedule these things so most Americans can watch them. You can't program your entire convention for people watching in San Francisco.
Speaking of 100,000, they dropped 100,000 balloons.
Well, there you go. There you go. So it must be the convention director is an environmentalist. Thank you, DJ. Well, sadly, that's all the time we have. But I will say, on the positive side, we certainly have learned a few things, haven't we? So I'll be back Monday morning. Don't you worry. It's going to be another fabulous week of Binghamton Now. I'm Bob Joseph on News Radio, WNBF.